crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place? The taco place? Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Bronco Nation will not score, Jackson pours. Each game I score a touchdown. Head to Jackson's on Monday for a 49-cent fountain drink with Let's Go rewards. And don't forget your free banana, Jackson's. Let's go.
And final blade of grass, done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Bronco Nation News Live is the only daily show that talks nothing but Boise State sports. And we do it with you. Give us your comments or questions in the ICCU YouTube chat. Or leave us a voicemail on the Signature Roofing voice inbox at speakpipe.com/BNN. BNN Live is presented by our title sponsor, RoadPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our major sponsors, Jackson's, Taco Bell, Idaho Central Credit Union, Lithia Ford of Boise, and the Blue and Orange Store. For more coverage of Boise State athletics, check out the all-new BroncoNationNews.com, now part of the 247 Sports family. Now, here's five-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Happy Friday, Bronco Nation. Welcome on into a live edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. My name is BJ Rains. We got Mike Prater, KTIK 95.3 The Ticket, Bronco Nation News columnist for his weekly Friday appearance. And Mike, it's Friday. It's going to be a good, fun weekend. A lot of sports going on, and it's a good time right now.
I don't know if this is good or bad, but I woke up in a really good mood this morning. So when I wake up grumpy, that leads to better shows, better columns. But I woke up pretty happy today. I don't know why. It's kind of doomy and gloomy outside. But yeah, it's a fantastic sports weekend. I know there's games tonight, big games of college tomorrow. We got certainly all kinds of crazy fun stuff this weekend. Kellen Moore and Ashton Genty are both favored to win this weekend. That's never happened in the history of the planet. And then obviously we're going to talk a little Boise State basketball starting on Monday in the island. So yeah, it's a good time to be us. It's a good time to be alive, and let's get after it today, my friend.
What are you hoping folks do? Maybe just turn the sound down for the Maui Invitational and listen to you guys while they're watching, or what? Because unfortunately, I think it's right at 3:00 on Monday.
It is right at 3:00 on Monday. We're having a little internal bet here at the office with Bob Beeler, who can get the most listeners. So I don't know how we're going to gauge that, but yeah, it's kind of weird. We're not going to get too crazy. We're not going to go for 2 hours of play-by-play radio on Idaho Sports Talk next Monday. But yeah, 2 things happening next Monday at 3:00. That's a good thing. We can handle that.
By the way, you're mentioning NFL. All of Bronco Nation here needs to join in and root for the Green Bay Packers this week, Mike. We're still alive in our 18 million survivor pool. So if Mike Prater wants a raise, we got 6-7 more weeks. We got to go here for the Circa Survivor contest. Started at 18,700, and we're down to 939, I believe it is. And we're at the point now where we're starting to have to take some dicey picks. You've used, not a lot of the big favorites are left for us. So we're going, believe we're going to be submitting the pick for the Green Bay Packers at home against the Minnesota Vikings. I think is going to be our pick that I'm not quite as confident as some, I'll tell you that, but you gotta, it is what it is at this point. So go Packers, back the pack. Somebody said, yes.
No easy picks this time of year
for Bronco Nation News, back the pack. But Mike, I have a loaded dossier today. I mean, I've created an actual rundown. We're going to have an actual program today on a Friday. I mean, I know typically we meet probably 7:30 for our pre-show conference call and spend a ton of time getting ready for these shows. But today was no different because there were a number of things I didn't want to forget about and talk about. And we'll do our best to squeeze it into 45 minutes or so. But you and I both have the gift for gab. So we'll see if we can get moving down the list and get through all of this in 45 minutes. But obviously, we're going to talk Maui Invitational. Obviously, I want to talk about your column, the 5 changes you want to see for the football team. But I do want to start with tomorrow's game and senior night and what we expect to see, because we're hearing they're going to attack more. We're hearing they're going to cut it loose more. We're hearing they're going to play free and easy and nothing to worry about and just have fun these last 2 games and try to do it for the seniors tomorrow. Do you think we'll actually see all that?
100% for like the first 10 minutes, and then you never quite know. And that's been my biggest issue with Nate Potter so far. I thought Nate Potter and the offensive staff came in with a spectacular game plan last time they played this football game, but at some point it got away from them. And I don't know if panic is the right word, overthinking is the right word. Somewhere along the way when things don't go perfectly, it gets a little squirrely for Nate Potter when it comes to play calling. So, yeah, I think they're going to come in, and I think, even last week, in those first 3 series, Max threw I think he was a 4 of 6. He threw 6 times. Capels had a drop. He should have been 5 of 6. And then all of a sudden they got away from him and they got squirrely. So, yes, I think we're going to see the first 5, 10, 15 minutes of Boise State's offense tomorrow. Attack, coming out of that emotional senior day moment. And then we'll see what happens inside the game. Maybe it's a big blowout, and maybe it doesn't really matter. Maybe it's a tight game, and Nate Potter screws it up again. I'm very curious as to what happened. For me, the game kind of starts in the second quarter after that first initial wave.
14th straight sellout. We'll see how many of those seats are actually full, to start the game and the full game. But I know a lot of those tickets, Mike, were sold, well before the last 2 weeks for this game. But 14th straight sellout, another thing that they'll be able to kind of take into the offseason in terms of marketing for next season, going in with that sellout streak, which I think was important. And obviously, I just thought of something else I forgot to put on my list here, a bigger topic that we need to talk about while we were talking sellouts and promotion and the athletic director's office. That should be high. That'll be high on the list here. I just forgot to write it down. But what do you make this senior class, Mike, been through a lot. I know every senior class has a story. Obviously, the last couple of years here, a lot of these senior classes, we've talked about this, but we were talking to some players this week. A lot of these 5th-year seniors, which is a good chunk of this class, signed – and then 3 days later, Harsin and the staff left for Auburn. There's Mason Randolph was signed by our friend Brad Bedell.
Wow.
Brad Bedell signed Mason Randolph and then left for Auburn 3 days later. Matt Lauder was signed by our friend Kent Riddle. And then 3 days later, stuff changes. It was just these guys have gone through a lot. They signed with Harsin's staff. They're kind of not stuck with Avalos staff, but that's who they, found out they're playing with after they had already signed. Then it becomes the era with Danielson. They've won, the 2 championships the last 2 years, get to the Fiesta Bowl. This senior class has been through a lot. And I'll be honest, I know Spencer Danielson, some people right now are tuned out to some of his words, say that he says the same things. I get that. But I thought listening to him yesterday, like again, we could be wrong at 5 o'clock tomorrow, but I believe this team is going to be fired up to finish strong for the seniors. And he talked about the product they put on the field, and he said he told the team, like, hey, you guys, as bad as you've been the last 2 weeks, they still sold this place out. What do you want them to see? What do you want them to see for your last home game? Like, some of the stuff he was saying, I would be surprised if they came out flat again tomorrow, but I think honoring this senior class and the last home game for a lot of these seniors is a big deal to a lot of people around there.
Yeah, it's such a crazy, cool senior class, too. I mean, so many people that we really fell in love with as human beings and great players and are great dudes. The player part of it all is, there's lumps and chunks out of it here. Like the offense, you look at the offensive line and what the offensive line's about to lose. That's kind of sobering. And then just some of the big names, some of the regular starters we've seen for 2, 3, 4 years, the Irbies and the Notrianis and the Lauders and stuff like that. So at the same time, and I don't know if it's a product of recent bias in the last 2 weeks, but it's also an offense or a senior class that I don't know if underachieve is the right word, because I don't know what I expected from this senior class, but it just seems like they left us wanting more. Maybe that's the best way to put it, because we saw the potential. We certainly saw what happened last year, and definitely going into this year, they left us wanting more. So I think this is going to be a really cool senior class in terms of the people and the pride that Boise State University is going to send these people out into the real world. The football part of it, they gave us lots of thrills and chills, but at the same time, I feel like this senior class just left me a little bit empty and wanting more. So there's a really crazy dynamic, but it'll be fun tomorrow seeing those guys, and it'll be a blast to watch those guys do what they do out there with moms and dads and Coach Danielson.
And there'll be at least one other player that will be playing his last game. We got confirmation yesterday. I don't think anybody was surprised. I mean, I was a little surprised that he just came out and said it, but I don't think any of us are surprised that Spencer Danielson saying Cage Casey will, forego his final season of eligibility and enter the 2026 NFL draft, and this will be his last game. Doesn't get to walk out with the seniors, but he is going to write him a letter still and do some of the things knowing that this is going to be his last game. And then also said that Ty Benefield has, quote, a really good shot to declare as well. What was your take on hearing about Cage and Ty from Spencer yesterday?
I love the fact that Cage is doing it, and he's committed to it, and he owns it, and he's just going to go, and everybody knows. And it's this season started with him potentially being a first rounder. There was a lot of summer buzz about Cage Casey being a first rounder. That's not going to happen. I don't think he's going in the first round. He's had a good year. He hasn't had an elite year. The offensive line, especially the tackle position, the left tackle position, is unbelievably deep. There's 5, 6, 7 dudes in the first round that are kind of locks based on what you read. So, but you know what? He's a lock for me on Friday night, second round, third round. Those are millions of bucks that could be life-changing money. He needs to go, and I love the fact that he's committed. No screwing around. Let's go.
And Ty Benefield, I mean, do you expect him to be back next year? Or what do you make of Spencer saying a really good shot? And again, you can declare and then come back. And now, I mean, you're talking about roster retention and things as well. I mean, I asked basically in terms of NFL, but there's guys that could transfer and whatever else as well. So I know we're going to get to that in your 5 changes thing here in terms of roster retention and how much of that you actually want to see. But what would you make of him saying a quote, a really good shot for Ty Benefield to declare as well?
I'd be shocked if Ty Benefield comes back to Boise State next year. I think Ty Benefield is gone, but I'm not necessarily sure he's going to the NFL. I mean, he's the kind of guy that can go to the SEC and get $1 million. Can he go to the NFL and get $1 million? I think so. I think he can be a draft pick, 4th, 5th, 6th round. I don't know. I love the way he plays, and he's the NFL model, and he's going to get drafted. But are you going to get drafted in the 7th round by the Cleveland Browns and just become an afterthought? And I think he's going to take a look at both, and it all depends on what mom and dad want and what the outside noise is telling him. But I think he's got options. I don't think he's coming back to Boise State. He can go make $1 million at a Power 4 conference or dive into the NFL. I think it'd be kind of cool if he did go somewhere big and play Power 4 football for $1 million and then try to grow one more year. So, yeah, I would love for him to stick around Boise State. He's one of all of our favorite players to watch. He's one of the only guys on this football team that gives us a thrill every single Saturday, every single quarter, every single series. And he has been absolutely a beast. He's a fun guy to watch, and I wish him nothing but the best. But I assume that Saturday will be his last ever game on the blue. His future is certainly undetermined at this point.
Yeah, they have a lot of guys like that. Somebody in the chat here says, I think JVM will test the waters in the portal unless he can get a bag here, and we'll get into that again here in a little bit. But they do have some guys, Mike, that, last year was one thing keeping some of these guys. I know maybe you don't have as many that you're worried about keeping this year, but there are a couple key ones they need to try to hang on to.
Yeah, I know we're going to get to the column, and it's probably it's obviously an exaggeration, but in my column I said there's 108 players on this roster right now, and they're going to lose 20 of them in senior day. So that's, what is that, 88? We're down to 88, and I said there's only 3 on this roster that I want to keep, and it's the 2 running backs, Gaines and Dylan Riley, and then I said JVM, the pass rusher. So does that mean Prater wants 85 of these guys to go? No.
Maybe 3 they have to keep or something is a better way.
The 3 they have to keep, and Jaden Virgin Morgan's a big piece of that. If you lose him, that's a massive loss to me. If you lose one of the 2 running backs, that's a big loss. If you lose them both, that's a massive loss. I think you have to keep all 3 of those dudes, including JVM. And after that, I'm all about roster rebuild in the offseason of 2026.
Yeah, we'll get to your column in a second, but BSU Bill says Prater is spot on. Roster retention is overrated. There's about 7 to 10 worth keeping. The rest are expendable if they want to leave. Speaking of wanting, unavailable or not out there, we found out Chris Marshall out again on Saturday. Tomorrow he will not play due to the ankle injury. And I was at practice, Mike, and I saw the play. And I know we're not supposed to report stuff we see at practice or whatever, but it just was it's tough that he misses 2 games when he's just running a route, going for a ball, and has, slides for the ball and slips and basically rolls his ankle or whatever. I mean, it wasn't any kind of big collision or anything. He just was running a route in practice, and the throw was off, and he went to go make a play, and now he's out for 2 games. No one hit him. No one touched him. It was 10 feet in front of me and Chris Van Sickle. And when Spencer Danielson came over and realized it was something bad, then he looked up and looked right at me and Chris. And I think he was like, oh crap, they saw that. But that's just stuff happens in practice, and it wasn't in a game. It was just running a route in practice. And now they're out without Chris Marshall again. We already know Ford's out, all that stuff. I mean, part of the passing, not attacking downfield, the inconsistencies, and I asked Spencer about it, is because they just, no offense to Latrell Caples and some of these guys, they just don't have a lot in the wide receiver room right now. So I know people have mixed thoughts on Chris Marshall, has underachieved a little bit this season, but certainly would have been a nice option to have for Max Cutforth to have out there. So that's one more guy out that'll make things a little tougher tomorrow.
Yeah, and what a crazy story Chris Marshall has been, and even before he came to Boise, I hate speculating on injuries, but I'm not going to speculate on injuries more than just maybe the mental side of his game. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of this is mental, and if I wouldn't be surprised, and these are strong words, and I hope I don't regret them, but he's kind of checked out a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw him again. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he's eating Thanksgiving dinner with grandma next Thursday and never comes back. I don't know. I mean, with this guy, anything is possible. I mean, he could come back and have a 200-yard game against Utah State and lead Boise State to, a great postseason or whatever. He's got that kind of potential, but the reality is it's been the other side of the Chris Marshall story as opposed to the epic, great side of the Chris Marshall story. And an ankle twist, an ankle tweak, yeah, those things can be pesky, and you can linger for 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe it's 100% legit, but I also think it's a little bit upstairs, and I would be surprised if we ever saw Chris Marshall in another Boise State uniform again, but I don't know where he's going to go. He's got eligibility left. He can't just keep on running and hiding and going to other schools. It seems like he kind of attaches himself to Spencer and tries to hear Spencer's message, but maybe it's not quite working. So I don't know. It's a great dilemma, but I don't expect Chris Marshall to be a big part of this football season for the rest of this season for sure.
All right, 5 changes Mike Prater wants to see to the Boise State football team. His column went up yesterday at BroncoNationNews.com. If you're a paying subscriber, you can read that. If you're not a paying subscriber, I would love for you to subscribe. Although I was telling people the other day, Mike, we do have our biggest offer ever coming 75% off next week for Black Friday. So nice. If you're on the fence about subscribing, I know you want to read Mike Prater's column and hurry, but maybe wait a couple days as well, because the big discount's coming for 75% off for our Black Friday sale next week. But if you're already a paying subscriber, you're able to read Mike's column and the 5 changes he wants to see. We'll discuss those in just a second, but I do want to thank RowPaint.com, Andy Rowe and company. They've been on board since day one at Bronco Nation News, and I know the painting industry is tough, Mike, but really appreciate Andy Rowe from day one being being on board as our title sponsor. And if you guys can get out there and support them, the winter is tough for them in terms of the painting projects and keeping their crews busy. So get on out there and support the sponsors, folks. And that includes Andy Rowe and RowePaint.com. They got that Painter for a Day project, a lot of different options. But truly appreciate Andy and their friendship. And if you got any painting project at your house, hit up the folks at RowePaint.com. Best in the business. Let them take care of it for you. Again, ROEPaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, they got NIL deals with 7 student athletes you see on the screen. They're back on board as a sponsor at Boise State in Learfield, so always appreciate them. And I know Prater is an ICCU member. Tust is, I am. ICCU.com, best in the business. Make the switch today. I know Chris Van Sickle just switched over to ICCU and is already loving it. So that mobile e-branch banking, best in the business, ICCU.com. Stan Nicolason, Jen, good to see them last night. TacoBellWorks.com, the SON management group, the Nicolason family, again, just they do so many great things in this community, and obviously running all the Treasure Valley Taco Bell locations. Check them out, local Treasure Valley Taco Bell location, and whether it's the new crispy chicken strips or all the great options they have there, TacoBellWorks.com. And they're committing more than $400,000 to endowed scholarships with the men's and women's basketball team. So return the favor, folks, and get out to Taco Bell. Hey, Jackson's. We'll have the Jackson's postgame show live from the James tomorrow night after Boise State-Colorado State. You get a 49-cent fountain drink if Latrell Caples can get in the end zone tomorrow on Monday using that Let's Go Rewards app. And don't forget about the 99-cent coffee day or night. And I've already said it a couple of times, but Mike, if you haven't had a chance, you need to carve out an hour and go back and listen to the Riley and Ridge show. Tyler Crow was their special guest on Wednesday. And you get a couple beverages in Tyler Crow, and he's unfiltered already. He told some great, great stories. I mean, he even said that Max Cutforth would have come in before Malachi Nelson last year if Maddox Madsen would have gone. He said Max Cutforth was doing the best in practice, even ahead of Malachi. So I don't know who that says more about, Mike, but I mean, a lot of great stories, a lot of great stuff about oversleeping his freshman year, fall camp, and having Jabril Frazier banging on his dorm room door. A lot of great stories from our friend Tyler Crow. You can go back and listen to that, watch that and that's sponsored by our friends at Jackson's. Jackson's, we appreciate them, and do want to thank the Blue and Orange store as well. We saw our man Travis Hawks, great dude, appreciate him, and you can get that Max Cutforth jersey, any other player jersey that you'd like at the Blue and Orange store, blueandorangestore.com. Check them out, the blueandorangestore.com, and they got that Boise Town Square Mall location, the mall location down at the Boise State Hall of Fame. And as I said, you can order anywhere in the world online at the blueandorangestore.com. We appreciate Travis Hawks for his support of Bronco Nation News. All right, Mike, 5 changes that you want to see. I really enjoyed the column. I just love your ability, by the way, to sneak in just some funny one-liners and random words that just make me chuckle while I'm reading these. But 5 things that you want to see, and I want to briefly, and like I said, briefly, because we do have a lot of topics to get here and a little over 20 minutes left to do it, run through these 5. And again, folks can read the whole column at BroncoNationNews.com. It was up there yesterday, and I know it's getting good traction on social media. But you want to change your first topic, you say here. Let's start with number 2 because it kind of affects tomorrow's game, the passing strategy. You talked about Max Cutforth and what you want to see. And I know you're being a little facetious with the 50 pass attempt thing, but you want to see them give Max Cutforth a chance tomorrow to sling the ball all over the field.
If he doesn't get at least 30 attempts, and we'll wait and see how the game plays out, I'll be really bummed. And what happened last week can't happen again. So, especially after all the talk and the conversation this week about attack, this could be Max Cutforth's last ever, audition for a job next year. And we may not see him. I don't know if Maddox Madsen's going to come back next week. So this might be Max Cutforth's deal. And if Max Cutforth can be a passer that this offense desperately needs, then I need to see it. We all need to see it. The coaches need to see it. Max Cutforth needs to see it. So he needs to come out and he needs to pass in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, and the fourth quarter. And I want 30 attempts, maybe 40. And yeah, I said push for 50. Of course, that's a joke. I think 50 attempts has only happened 9 times in the history of this entire program. So that's asking a lot. But you know what? It's the extreme of what I saw last week. I mean, there's 50 attempts is certainly less ridiculous than the crap we saw last week. So just give me a chance to figure out who this guy is. Give Max a chance to throw the ball and give him a chance to do what he has to do. I need part of the competition for the offseason in terms of the quarterback has to include Max Cutforth as a passer. And he might be the best passer on this football team right now. So we'll see how it plays out. But I need to see a big dose of Max Cutforth tomorrow. And hopefully Nate Potter doesn't screw that one up.
And I think it's twofold. I think one, I think they need to pass more to move the ball and to win the game. I mean, I know the running game is what they want to lean on, and that's fine. And I know there were some unusual circumstances. I mean, it was not just a mist or light rain. It was a torrential monsoon downpour for part of that game. And I understand that you don't want to put them in some of those situations, but still the 7 pass attempts through 3 quarters was laughable. And I think if they want to move the ball, I think some of those play actions and just throwing the ball more is certainly going to be part of it. But I also think you're right. At this point, you're 6-4. You need to start making decisions for next year and seeing what you have and who you have. And that's one spot where, I mean, obviously they're not going to go into next season with him as the starter, but is he a legitimate, competitor in that mix, or is he just a guy? I tweeted it out. I said, I don't know if he's any good or not. They won't let him throw. And I even joked, I told that to I saw his parent, met his parents at the baggage claim. We were on the same flight coming back from San Diego on Sunday and met him at the baggage claim. Very nice folks. And I said that to them. I said, frankly, I don't know if your son's any good or not. They won't let him throw it. Like, let's see what he can do. And so yes, I think they need to throw more to win, tomorrow and to move the ball, but also you're spot on 100%. Let's see what he has, see if he's a real option next year. And at this point, you got nothing to lose. Let the guy get out there and throw the ball. Speaking of quarterback room, that was your one of your things on your list as well, Mike Prater, changing the quarterback room. You mentioned who's in there, and you're talking about a transfer portal QB. And I've been saying this as well. I even asked Jeremiah Dickey about this when he came on the show yesterday, just big picture-wise. They have this philosophy where all the money they have goes to keeping the players they have and not necessarily and I know that's a different one of yours that I guess we'll get to. But in terms of the quarterback, you're saying it's time where you got to pony up and get a quality guy in here.
Well, you're the one yesterday who pointed it out, and it's kind of funny. And I'm going to send Leon Rice a screenshot of my column here in a little bit. I think he's flying to Hawaii right now for the Maui Invitational. But it's very rare when I use Leon Rice as the example to make the football team better. He always accuses me of being a football guy, and in this particular case, Leon Rice brought in 3 players. He brought in Fielder, he brought in Nato, and he brought in Andrews, and he spent about $1 million on those 3 players. Outside players who hadn't earned squat, and he brought him in to make his roster better. And guess what, guys? It's working. And it's okay for Spencer Danielson to have I need you to earn it mentality when it comes to rev sharing, NIL, whatever it is, the collective. And I get that. But every now and then, you've got to stray away from that. It's okay to color outside the lines every now and then. And Boise State desperately needs a quarterback. This historic offense demands that kind of respect. That position in Boise State's football program demands that kind of respect, and I don't see it right now. So, yeah, it could backfire. The Malik Murphy experiment at Oregon State, they paid him $1.5 million to come in, and he got benched halfway through. That's the risk you have to take right now. Make smart decisions, spend a little bit of money, bring in a transfer quarterback, and all of a sudden we got 4, 5, 6 dudes competing in the offseason, and anything less than that I think is completely, totally unacceptable based on what we've seen from this offense in the last month.
And I don't know if you saw, Mike, or not, but there's a new quarterback coming to visit this weekend. Was just added as a visitor list. A quarterback that decommitted from Indiana recently. Cash Herrera. What do you think of Cash for your quarterback's name?
I love that. Is that class of 26 or 27?
26. He's a quarterback that was committed to Indiana and is coming on 247 Sports. Blair Aguayo, our guy at 247 Sports, posted in our message boards. If you're a VIP member, you got this yesterday. But he is a quarterback that was that decommitted recently from Indiana, and he is going to be visiting this weekend. So Boise State backed off a commitment to Indiana just this week, and now he's going to look at some other options heading into signing day. He's from California, 3-star quarterback, class of 26, 6'3", 207. Cash Herrera, former Indiana commit, is going to be coming in, and he was committed to Iowa, so he's one of those guys that has been had a couple different options, has flipped around a little bit, but you're talking about Iowa and Indiana, both wanted him, and now he's going to take a look at Boise State this weekend.
That's awesome. I mean, maybe he sees opportunity here, and I would assume at that size and getting recruited at that level, he's a hell of a passer, a pocket passer. I don't know if he's a dual threat guy. I don't know much about him at all. So, yeah, just bring as many passing quarterbacks in here as humanly possible. The Jackson Taylor kid coming in, what is he? He's 6'3", 200 pounds. I mean, he's a bigger boy. They need to start going off and getting these bigger quarterbacks, these pocket passer guys. You know, you can still have the dual threat and the athletic guys that can run a little bit. That's what college football is all about right now. I'm not sure if college football really has true pocket passers. So I'm not looking for 6'6" Dan Marino to stand in there and just launch the ball. I need some serious wheels and legs and athleticism, but you've got to be able to spin the ball and throw that football. And right now, I just don't see a lot of capable quarterbacks on Boise State's roster. Although, real quickly, did you see Colorado State's announcement last night? Colorado State is starting a true freshman quarterback. Max Cutforth might be the most experienced quarterback on the field on Saturday afternoon. That's a crazy, crazy situation, guys. If you're showing up to the game tomorrow, don't expect great quarterback play from two freshmen.
Brad says, but the real question is, how does he look handing the ball off into the A-gap?
Hey, that's fair. Based on what we've seen for the last month, that's fair.
All right, Mike, the kind of bigger topic that we talked earlier in your column, your next thing, actually it was your first thing in the 5 things you want to see change the offseason roster priority. You said starting in January, Danielson should focus less on roster retention and focus more on a roster rebuild.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's just, if we're pressed for time, just leave it at that. The roster retention thing isn't always the greatest. Sometimes you have to get rid of some of the lower baggage. Look what the Mountain West did. Look what the new Pac-12 did. They got rid of the bottom weight and moved to another conference. That happens in the real work world all the time. So there is some fat. There is some stuff that you can take care of with this roster. I don't need Spencer Danielson bragging that we retained our entire roster. And I don't like the fact that he said, we're going to retain all 10 of our assistants. That part as well. I don't want roster retention with the assistants. It was a cute little offseason story. And we thought it was a positive at the time. And maybe this year it was fine. But you can't go into another season without a little bit of fresh coaching, a little bit of fresh roster. They have to go out and change things up a little bit based on what we've seen this season.
Now, and we'll see, because they don't have the money that some of these schools have. And I understand it and I get it. And they've, like you said, they've in the past, their philosophy has been use the money on the guys they have. But as you're saying, if you need some, you said 3 guys. I know it's probably a little deeper than that. Somebody said 7 to 10 maybe in the chat. And that might be, and that might be something where you go and make a list of kind of the order of the guys you want to keep. And obviously, Dylan Riley, who would have thought going into the season, might be number 1 on that entire list in terms of the guy you got to keep next year, which is crazy to think about. But it will be interesting to see kind of what Spencer Danielson does, because the roster does need some retooling. And someone said lots of players will hit the portal. I still think it's I don't know if unfair is the right word, but we're not in the locker room, Mike. We don't know what's really going on. We don't know if he's lost the locker room. We don't know if players are happy, unhappy. I mean, you've seen all these crazy, Marion McCoy decided to sit out because he's, checked out now like everybody else, whatever. I think a lot of that kind of speculation is unfair, but I think this will be a test this offseason to see if and we really will find out, what the players think of Spencer Danielson and really what was going on in that locker room, if a lot of guys leave or if it's very minimal leaving again.
I don't think he's lost the locker room. I really don't. You kind of hear those things before Andy Avalos was fired. We talked about that. And I had a tweet, a couple of days before he got fired that said Andy Avalos has lost the locker room. And you can tell and you can hear. And we hang around this we're not in the locker room, obviously, but we hang around this program enough and talk to enough people. You can tell. I don't think Spencer Danielson's lost the locker room. I really don't. He may have lost a couple of individuals, and that's going to happen when you have 105 people, 108 people in your family, and things get a little squirrely like they have this season. I suspect Spencer Danielson's going to lose, let's say he's going to lose 10 players to the transfer portal, and 5 of them are going to go, see ya, who cares, good luck, we'll see you down the road. And 5 of them are going to probably be impact players that could have made a difference next year. That's just the nature. And I would say that if they were winning right now, probably, because that's just the nature of what the reality of college football is today. So Spencer Danielson is going to lose 10-ish type players to the transfer portal, and half of them are going to be important impact guys. So that's we'll see who it is. If it's JVM, that sucks. If it's one of the 2 running backs, that sucks. Everybody else, I think I'm okay. Let's see what happens. Let's go.
Yeah. And then with that, though, they would need to, ideally change their philosophy and start using some money in the portal to go get, better players or replacements. I mean, you look at some of the portal ads they've made, on the D line, some of those guys have been big time players. Some of the portal guys they added in the secondary in recent years. And that's with offering nothing up front. Like you said, think about what the type of player you could get to come to Boise State if they were able to throw some cash at some of these guys.
The most important meeting that needs to happen over the next 6 weeks or 2 months, because both these gentlemen are going to be very busy. Spencer Danielson needs to sit down and have an hour conversation with Leon Rice. I'm serious. I'm not joking around. I'm serious. Leon, why did you give 3 brand new players $1 million to make your roster better? You didn't know who they were. You weren't roster retaining. You were roster rebuilding. And those guys didn't earn it. You gave $1 million to 3 players that didn't earn it. Talk to me through that process. Talk to me how you're feeling about it. Talk to me through how you think about those kinds of things. And let Leon, I never thought in a million years that Leon Rice would be the more progressive coach, but I certainly like what he did in the offseason. And I think Spencer Danielson needs to feel comfortable mentally, because obviously he feels very strong about retaining the entire players and making incoming players return cash. And I respect that. He's got a stance. It's a good one. It may not work all the time. Go have a conversation with Leon Rice and become comfortable opening up that policy just a little bit here and there, especially if it can make your roster better.
Yeah, and one of them's a freshman too. Another thing that Spencer Danielson doesn't do.
Yeah, exactly. A freshman transfers. I don't care, man. I don't care if you're 18, 25, 30. If you can make Boise State's roster better and they play a vital position like quarterback or maybe an edge rusher, give them some cash. Let's go.
All right, final 2 we'll put into one here. You mentioned a little bit on the coaching staff. We'll put the coaching staff and then the OC, kind of your final 2 bullet points into one discussion here. You don't want Nate Potter to be fired, but you said basically it was a mistake putting him in the OC role. You'd like to see him maybe just step back a little bit, back and focus on the tight ends again. You would like to see Zach Hill take over as the offensive coordinator, and you also would like to see at least one assistant coach move on. And you mentioned some positions where there's been some struggles, but bringing back all 10 coaches you don't think is a good idea, and you'd like to see Zach Hill get a shot at OC.
I want Zach Hill to be the offensive coordinator and play caller really bad. And that might even be a gamble. That might be a risk. I don't know. But when he was the offensive coordinator here at Boise State for 4 years, all 4 years, the offensive production went up. Then he goes to Arizona State. And through those 6 years where he was the offensive coordinator and play caller, he put 2 quarterbacks in the NFL, Brett Rippon and Jaden Daniels. He had Hank Bachmeier in 2019. And that was a true freshman year, and Hank Bachmeier was spectacular. That wasn't his best year at Boise State. I think 2 years later he had the big productive year, but Hank Bachmeier was spectacular as a true freshman. So that is Zach Hill right there, guys. Zach Hill can't recruit right now. I think that changes maybe this offseason. We'll have to look into that a little.
I think.
Okay, April. So, and that's another big problem that I've had with the quarterback position that people don't talk about enough. Nobody's been in charge of the quarterback room for 2 years in terms of babysitting it. Dirk Cutter couldn't recruit. Dirk Cutter couldn't go out and get people. Dirk Cutter was given ingredients and told to make a meal.
Sanford brought that up on Ball Talk on Wednesday, and even going back to the first time a couple years ago when Dirk Cutter was here and said, "I'll coach for you, but I ain't recruiting." He thinks the quarterback battle the quarterback issues goes all the way back to 2022.
3 of the last 4 years, you've had a quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, play caller who didn't recruit, and Zach Hill's in that boat right now, who didn't recruit, who basically they were in charge of winning a game on Saturday, and that's all they cared about. That's an important job, and they did a great job of it. And I'm not going to try to delay, but you've got to realize that the time has changed, and you can't do that anymore. So I want Zach Hill. I want Zach Hill bad. Make Nate Potter the tight ends coach, co-offensive coordinator, but let Zach Hill be the play caller. You see it all the time. I'm demoting you of play calling duties. I'm demoting myself of play calling duties. I'm mixing it up. It happens in season all the time. I almost like to see it this weekend, just so we can kind of get a look at Zach Hill and what he's got. But I know Spencer Danielson's not going to go there.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I mean, he can still recruit like when they come on campus. He can still talk to the quarterbacks. The main thing that Zach Hill can't do is just go visit them off campus. So I know Justin Udi, the assistant quarterbacks coach, actually went out with Spencer during the first bye week and visited both quarterback commits. So the main thing he couldn't do is just go do the visits, but he can still quote recruit just on campus, not off campus. But that certainly has been a factor in all of this. So 5 changes. You can read more in detail on that and what he wants to see, what Mike would like to see from that. 5 changes. And again, one of them starts as early as Saturday in terms of what we're going to see from Max Cutforth in tomorrow's game. All right, a couple things I still want to get to. Baylor, Jeremiah Dickey, should we be concerned there, Mike Prater? I want to get your thoughts on that in just a second, but do want to thank Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and Game, thespateam.com, locations in Twin Falls, Boise, Meridian, Nampa. They've been around since 1978. They're part of the Boise State home team. You can check them out, Snake River Pool and Spa Patio and game. Hey, Matt Bauscher Real Estate, appreciate his support of Bronco Nation News. Check out Bauscher Real Estate. Be seeing him over in Maui. He'll be joining me for a couple shows. BauscherRealEstate.com. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home, best in the business, Matt Bauscher Real Estate. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Appreciate them. Shopridleys.com. They got 13 locations in the state of Idaho, and I love that Kuna location. You're looking for that family hometown grocery store feel, check out Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. Looking for a new job? How about Transportation Compliance Service? They can help you with all the paperwork and things and get you into the trucking industry. Maybe it's something you've never thought about, but you can get out there towing that first load in no time with Transportation Compliance Service, a local company helping out folks all over the world. Sign up at transcompservice.com. Hey, Lithia Ford of Boise, we appreciate Jim Sturk and company. Lithia Ford of Boise. And Mike, maybe you can tell us in a second about the toy drive as well. I know that they have going on with you guys in Lithia Ford, but we appreciate Jim Sturk and company. Never a better time to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle from Lithia Ford of Boise. And check them out online, lithiafordboise.com. And if you want to leave us a voicemail, speakpipe.com/BNN, the Signature Roofing voice inbox. You can do that, Signature Roofing, online at mysignatureroofing.com. Whether it's a re-roof, a repair, an estimate, or an inspection, online, mysignatureroofing.com. What is the deal on the toy drive? Do you know, Mike?
Yeah, I do. It's we're doing it as part of the KBOI, KTIK Cumulus radio family here. It's now through December 8th. And you can go out there to Lithia Ford and give up some unwrapped gifts. And it's a Toys for Todd deal. And it's a really cool deal. So go out to Lithia Ford, drop off a toy, and let's make a difference this Christmas season.
Hey, by the way, Mike, volleyball had a big win last night. There's some other sports that are going on at Boise State, and you got to give a shout-out to the cross-country team. The women's cross-country team, they qualified as a team, and then a couple of individuals on the men's squad as well. They're going to compete tomorrow in Columbia, Missouri. I wish it was a better town for them to go to, unfortunately. That's where University of Missouri is, but as a Kansas guy, I have to say that. But all joking aside, excited. Congratulations to the cross-country championships. You met a gentleman last night that you promised our man Kerry Simons that we would give he's a big booster for cross country, and we said we'd give them a shout out. But Pat McCurry, second season, doing big things there, and they women's team is ranked 23rd in the country in the coaches poll. 7th time they've made the NCAA championships. First time since 2020. Mike, they got 9th that year out of 31 teams. 29 teams this year in the women's side, and you've got a couple individuals on the men's side, I said as well. And they're going to be starting tomorrow, I believe. ESPNU, folks can go watch this. It'll be it's the 6K begins at 8:20 Mountain Time for on the women's side, and then the 10K on the men's side is at 9:10. But Boise State cross country on ESPNU tomorrow in the championships.
Yeah, I showed up at your party last night, and I never expected to get into a nice 20-minute conversation about track and field. So usually I go out in public, I get grilled about either my crappy column or something stupid I said on the radio or football or Leon Rice, and it was really cool to kind of connect. I'm an old track and field guy. He was a track and field guy, and it's really cool to see what that program's doing. They're really trying to rebuild this track and field program. They ignored – I mean, they really relied on distance runners for 15, 20 years down there, and now they're trying to build a complete and total track team with sprinters and jumpers and throwers and all kinds of fun stuff. But the distance runners are still doing great work, and coach over there is doing a fantastic job. A local guy came over from the College of Idaho, a local runner here in Boise through high school. So it's really, really cool to see. And, hey, if the women's team is competing for a national championship tomorrow, that's pretty good. And by the way, BJ, when it comes to cross-country scoring, it's 5-4, 3-2-1. The lowest score wins. It's almost like golf. So 5-4, 3-2-1 would be an absolutely perfect cross-country score. I'm not sure Boise State can get there, but that's cool that they're at nationals.
Well, just the faster runners win. That sounds easy enough, right? I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. So shout out tomorrow. You can watch that on ESPNU at 8 a.m. for the cross-country championships. Mike, I know social media, we talk about rumors flying, comments flying, all this stuff, and you don't know what to believe and what's true. And I love you, BSU Bill, but this is why you just can't take stuff very serious on social media. This is just flat out not true. He says, how likely is it that we lose JD to Baylor? He wasn't at the basketball game on Tuesday, interviewing perhaps. Well, he was at the basketball game. His entire family was at the basketball game, and he was at the basketball game. And I talked to him. He was there after the game. So it just flat out not true. He was not interviewing at Baylor. He was at the basketball game on Tuesday. So that's just, I love you, BSU Bill, but come on.
He was on our radio show on Tuesday, and I know that he had to move it around because he had a doctor's appointment. He went from our radio show to a doctor's appointment to the basketball game. So yeah, it's crazy what people put out there. And it's crazy that these people even think that they're accurate. It's ridiculous.
Yes, he was at the game. He was not down at Baylor interviewing. It's just not how this works. But with that said, it now is official, Mike. And it really wasn't a topic to discussion with either, because they had an athletic director up until yesterday about 3:00 or whatever it was. But now crazy situation down there with Mack Rhoades, who is one of Jeremiah Dickey's best friends. I mean, he's a very confidant, very close in this whole world of athletic directors. The Arkansas athletic director Yurachek is very close in that circle, and Houston and Baylor, and now Baylor is without an athletic director, and I think it is worth bringing up and discussing. I know that's probably one of the few schools that I think, the Houston one was one to worry about a little bit because of the ties there, but I know he loves it here. He's got a lot of big goals here and things here, and we'll see what happens. I do think the fact they don't have a president right now, a full-time president could play into this and could be good or bad based on the previous president and their relationship there, but just now Baylor looking for an athletic director. Jeremiah Dickey's name is going to come up. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and it should come up, and it has come up, and it will come up. And guys, one thing to keep in mind, it's funny, even yesterday, I mean, Mack Rhoades hadn't even resigned yet, and you still got some of our listeners thinking that Jeremiah was down there. You're interviewing for a job before the guy even resigns. This thing is going to take some time, guys. BJ, you nailed it. They don't even have a president right now. I would suspect this story is going to take at least 100 days to develop. That's 3 months, guys, if Prater math is correct. And so slow down just a little bit here in terms of Jeremiah Dickey's going to be gone by Friday, or Jeremiah Dickey's going to move before Thanksgiving. This is going to be a slow process. And I think Jeremiah Dickey's going to be part of the conversation. There's no doubt about that. His name will come up at Baylor. Now, the big thing for me here is what did Mack Rhoades do? Mack Rhoades violated some kind of policy in the faith-based university at Baylor there. And I'm not sure what that was. He was already being investigated for a altercation with a football player and a football coach from a couple of weeks ago. 2 weeks later, something new came up, and that was the violation of a policy with this faith-based university. I don't know, playing a little kissy face with the secretary? I don't know. That's the kind of thing that happens when this kind of thing happens. If it was dirty and ugly and bad behind the scenes, Baylor probably wants nothing to do with anything to do with Mack Rhoades. If it was some kind of procedural thing or not that bad or not that harmful, first person you're going to want to go to is Jeremiah Dickey based on his roots, based on his track record of what he's done here at Boise State. I think Jeremiah Dickey would be a fantastic hire at any university, and Baylor would be ridiculous not to at least include him in the process. But it all depends on the timing. It all depends on the details of what happened to Mack Rhoades, and it all depends on good luck. So I've always said that Jeremiah Dickey would be here through September 12th of next year. That's the home opener. That's the unveiling of the North End Zone. That was kind of my over-under line in terms of will Jeremiah Dickey stay or will he go? Let's move that line a little bit here, because I think this is a story we have to watch for the next 100 days.
Yeah, there was sometimes his name pops up and it's like, probably not that serious, but kind of look at it. But this, I mean, if there was one where you're like, when that opens up, that's one you got to watch. I mean, I think he's certainly going to be a candidate, and that's, like you said, it's going to, I'm not going to sit up here and predict right now what he's going to do. I do know he when he says he likes it here and wants to build stuff here, I mean, you know him better than I do, but I mean, I think that stuff's legitimate, and he really does like it here and really does, would be perfectly fine staying here. But I also know that place meant a lot to him and helped his career a big deal. And if they can add, double or triple his pay, I mean, at some point that's, you talk about ceiling at Boise State for coaches, players, whatever. I mean, it's the same for athletic directors and administrators and things like that as well. So we'll see what happens. But if I was a fan and I liked Jeremiah Dickey, and it's funny because a couple people on the chat yesterday, like while we were interviewing him, had some pretty negative things to say. So they might be, celebrating and saying, go ahead. But I for the most part, I think folks like him and probably should be at least a little concerned right now to watch this one play out here. Mike, because I did feed you and give you free food and drink last night, I am going to make you go a couple minutes late here today. But I wanted to get a thought on the Maui Invitational. I know you're not maybe the biggest basketball guy, but this is a big deal for them to be in this tournament. And I know it's not the Maui Invitation of, 10 years ago where you had Duke and Kansas and Kentucky and all these kind of teams in it, but you have, two top 25 level teams in this field. You got a couple others that are certainly NCAA tournament level teams. I mean, and you got some brand names. You got USC, You got Texas. You got an NC State team that maybe name brand doesn't hit it, but they've got Will Wade and a huge recruiting class and the player of the year on their team, a transfer. So they've got a loaded roster as well. You've got Arizona State in this field. Smart scheduling on their part, by the way. They played at Hawaii last night in Honolulu, and then they're staying over there to go to Maui for the tournament. So they get a couple extra days over there and suck in an extra win. But the Maui Invitational, it's a big deal in basketball circles. Another kind of step up that in terms of boxes that Leon Rice keeps checking off and things this program has accomplished. I mean, never 5-10 years ago would you have thought about Boise State basketball being in the Maui Invitational on ESPN all of Thanksgiving week. But here they are, and tough first game against USC, but a chance on ESPN, ESPN2, national TV to play some quality opponents over there, and it's a big deal for the program.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, I don't get caught up in the relevance of a tournament and name and reputation. I could care less about that. I could care less about where they're going. I like the fact that, I've needled Leon Rice for years about his non-conference schedule, and I just like the fact that BSU is playing. They've got 2-3 great opportunities here to play conference opponents and get better. And I'm fascinated by Leon Rice's team right now and watching it get better coming out of that Hawaii Pacific loss. And you can see this team slowly getting better and building and doing the things, frankly, that frustrates us about the football program. So I'm really, really engaged in what Leon is doing from game to game to game. And as he tries to rebuild this roster, try to rebuild this basketball team. And I can't wait to see what he does against USC. I saw part of that game last night with Troy, and that was kind of fun. And a Musselman, and anytime you get a Musselman and a Rice on the same basketball court.
Did you see the last shot?
I did. It was fun. And Musselman's fun. And Musselman versus Leon Rice is fun. And Boise State versus USC and anything is kind of fun. I can't wait to watch. Well, it's going to be 3:00 next Monday when we're on the air, but I can't wait to keep an eye on this game and see how Leon Rice builds this team on Monday, how he builds this team on Tuesday, how he builds this team on Wednesday. And I'm kind of fascinated by the growth that's going on with that basketball program right now. So really cool storylines, and that'll be a fun 3-day tournament to watch next week.
Yeah, you had the whole storyline of Musselman when he was at Nevada, obviously, and some great battles there. But then Chibuzo Abo up and leaves Boise State and goes to USC. And then Drew Fielder commits to USC and then changes his mind the next day and comes to Boise State somehow. So a little back and forth there with Leon and Musselman. And so I think that adds to it a little bit for sure. But you mentioned the schedule, Mike. Quickly, I'll just say this. This will be the hardest non-conference schedule Boise State's ever played. They maybe don't have the top 10 Michigan State or Creighton or Arizona, the one marquee team they've played in some years. But you go from top to bottom, Mike. I mean, this tournament, you got USC, who's 27th. NC State could be their next round opponent. They're like 22nd. But even after this tournament, they still play at Butler, who's 64th at Ken Pom. St. Mary's is 25th at Ken Pom. Even a Duquesne coming in on a random Wednesday is 114th. They've only played one team, Montana State, who's outside the top 185, which is essentially that midway point in college basketball. So, I mean, every single non-conference game, even the quote-unquote bye games, have been teams that are, decent teams predicted to finish near the top of their league. So I don't know what their final record's going to be when they get into Mountain West play, but this team is certainly going to be battle tested heading into conference play.
I don't know anywhere near as much college basketball as you do, and I don't even know what the hell a Ken Pom is, but I do know, and I've said this several times, over the summer when we got the full schedule, I thought that this was the best schedule. And again, I've always needled Leon Rice for crappy football or for crappy basketball schedules, non-conference, especially what he brings into Boise. I thought it was cool that Clemson came into town for a really cool experience last year. So we're seeing signs of it. But in the past, it's always been kind of an isolated game here, an isolated road trip there, a neutral game in Idaho Falls, whatever. And this year's schedule, I've always loved this year's schedule. I think it's really cool. I even like the first 5 games because every opponent got better. And that's kind of, again, how you build this roster. And that's exactly what Leon Rice is doing. He's trying to get better 2 hours at a time every other 3 nights when he plays a basketball game. And right now it's working. It's there's angst, there's growth, there's things that really drive us crazy, but we can physically see the growth in this basketball team. And I think part of that is the schedule. And I think it's really cool to see right now.
Well, all 3 games have the opportunity to be big resume boosters for them. We'll see what happens in that tournament. First game is Monday at 3. You have Bob heading over on the radio side, Abe heading over on the radio side for KTIK and the Bronco Radio Network, and then I'll be heading over for BNN. That's it for media covering this tournament. So make sure you're listening to Bob on KTIK and myself on all of our shows, and that's the only place as it is for most road games, that you're gonna find any kind of coverage from this. And so we got a lot of cool stuff planned over there. Andy Katz is over there. We're gonna get him to jump on. I know some other guests. Boucher is going to jump on over there. It's going to be a lot of fun, and got to work out the timing though. Mike Prater, 9 a.m. Mountain Time is 6 a.m. over in Hawaii, so I got to figure out the morning schedule here if we want to make that happen or not, or what we're going to do, or with the games being earlier in the day, maybe we just kind of have the morning show be a pregame. I don't know. We'll figure all that out, but we'll have plenty of coverage. I got a quote I want to play from Leon. I'll keep this going for a little bit, Mike, but I'll let you get ready for your morning meeting. Appreciate your time. I'll join you guys at 4:15 today on Idaho Sports. You were broadcasting from your favorite spot, a bar, yesterday. Are we back in studio today, or?
No, we went from a bar yesterday to today. We're doing the snowmobile show out at the Fort Idaho Center. So
okay,
come check us out, Big Boy Toys, and we'll be out there from 3 to 6 today. And yeah, you'll jump on at 4:15, and we'll cover a few things here that we're talking about, mostly the football game and what we expect tomorrow, and certainly break down a little bit more of the Maui Invitational. So appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at 4:15 today.
Don't laugh, Mike, but because of my travel schedule and everything else, and kids' games and everything else, tonight was the night we circled. We're putting up the Rains family Christmas tree tonight. So we got family coming in town for Thanksgiving, and wanted to find a day to get it up. And this is so tonight will be our Christmas tree night. And right away, my son already asked, so are there any presents to put under the tree? It's like, all right, calm down just a little bit. We'll get those. We'll get those in there soon. But
I love that.
Appreciate you, Mike. Good luck. Have fun out there at the snowmobile. Have you ever driven a snowmobile?
I have. We were a snowmobile family growing up as kids, and I've always told the great story that my grandmother and I were on a snowmobile once. I was driving, and she was on the back, and I went around a corner too fast. Grandma flew off the back of my snowmobile, flew into a tree, and spent the next 3 months in an arm shoulder cast. So I've actually broken my grandmother's arm and shoulder. I ditched her into a tree by going too fast in a snowmobile when I was probably like 16 and really, really, really stupid.
Oh my gosh. Wow. What a story. Well, sorry for keeping you so long. Appreciate you, Mike. And we'll talk to you at 4:15, and we'll be listening 3 to 6 today. Idaho Sports Talk. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Let's hear from Leon Rice. Quick soundbite on the importance of the Maui Invitational.
When I was at Gonzaga, we went there 3 times, and you just fell in love with that tournament for so many reasons. Best place on the planet. It's always a better place when you win games too. And we won the tournament once, lost in the championship, and 1 year went 1 and 2. So you're always going to play great teams, and that's what you want. Great teams and great resume opportunities on a neutral court. And it's such a cool environment. It kind of takes you back. It takes you play in these big, huge arenas all over the country and all over the world, and it takes you back to the small gyms where we all started from. So there's an appreciation for that, and it's just pure competition. And what an experience for our fans. The fans that are going, they're gonna. There's a lot of great teams there, a lot of great coaches. There's high-level broadcast, all the things that are cool for players and coaches to be part of.
Again, Leon Rice, the Broncos, they are en route right now, or they're at least on their layover. I think I saw Javen's dad in the chat saying that they were getting ready to board for Hawaii. They flew out at 6 a.m. this morning, I believe it was, to head out to Maui. They got a layover somewhere, I believe, in California. But they will play on Monday. We have the bracket here that I can throw up there for a minute. We'll go full screen on this if we can. Let's see what we got here. All right, I'm trying to make this work on the fly here. So here's the bracket. You get Seton Hall and NC State in the first game, and then you get USC, Boise State in the second game. That'll be 12 o'clock, and that will be that's still really hard to see. Sorry about that, folks. Let's see if I can even zoom in more on that. That's really hard to see. Wow. There we go. Is that better? All right. I think you guys have seen this bracket already anyway, but let's just stop it right there. All right. Seton Hall, NC State in the first game, 9:30 a.m. over in Maui. That'll be a good game. 2:30 Eastern time, 12:30 in Boise. So 12:30 you can watch this game, and then you get USC, Boise State. You get Washington State, Chaminade. Somebody's asking who Chaminade is. They are the host school. They're like a Division II school that gets to be in it every year for hosting it, and it's just a guaranteed win pretty much for whoever plays them. And it also kind of helps any team go 0-3 whenever they're in it, because the last place game, you get a chance to beat them and at least get a win on in the 7th place game. But Boise State, again, ESPN2 for the first game. That is at 5 o'clock Eastern. That'll be 3 o'clock in Boise. And then you see how it sets up. Boise State will play either Seton Hall or NC State in the second game. If they lose, they'll be playing at 12:30. That's 9:30 in the morning out in Maui on ESPN2 in the losers bracket game against Seton Hall or NC State. If they can win, probably playing NC State. That would be 12 o'clock again, Hawaii time, 3 o'clock Boise time on Big Boy ESPN on Tuesday. And then the championship game is the first game, 9:30 in the morning in Maui. A little different there with that being the championship game. For TV purposes, that'll be 12:30 on Wednesday for the Boise time for the championship game. You see the full schedule here. And again, every game Boise State plays will be on either ESPN or ESPN2. Big time opportunity for Boise State on the national stage here in this tournament. And they are en route to Maui today. And then, as I said, we'll be out there Sunday. We got full coverage of the football game tomorrow. 2 o'clock, we'll be live with the pregame show. Brad Bedell, Kent Riddle, and I will be at the James Kitchen and Bar. We'll be live at 2 o'clock for the Senior Day game tomorrow. It's a 5 o'clock game. We're going to get the party started about 2 o'clock tomorrow. So make plans to join us from the James Kitchen and Bar. 2 o'clock, we'll be live. You can come over there, have some drinks, hang out, and watch the show. Or if you're tailgating or out of the state, you can watch us on YouTube. And that'll be at 2 o'clock tomorrow for the pregame show. Full coverage of the football game, and then we'll have the post-game show. The Jackson's post-game show will be after the game, back at the James with Kent and Brad. Nathan Carroll is going to help us out on post-game show. I'll be hosting pre-game show, and we got a lot of different folks. Chris is going to be in the press box helping out as well, so the full BNN crew will be at Albertson Stadium tomorrow, Senior Day game, and then full coverage all day tomorrow, and then I will board a plane early Sunday and head out to Maui myself. And again, Bronco Nation News, the only local outlet aside from Bob and Abe on the radio side, heading out to cover this tournament. So no TV stations, no newspapers. Your support and your support of our sponsors and your support by your subscription helps allow us to be the only local outlet that travels regularly on the road with basketball and football. So appreciate you guys for your support. We'll get out there on Sunday evening. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday games, and then it's right back to the mainland for the football game in Logan on Friday. Bronco Nation News will be at both football games. I'll be in Logan on Black Friday, so it's going to be a busy week here, but we will be covering every game as we can. So appreciate you guys for your support of Bronco Nation News. Continue to support the sponsors that you see on screen here and that we tell you about throughout the show, and continue to please, like I said, subscribe and read our work and share our stuff, because it does make a big difference when it comes to being able to this time of year renew with our sponsors and this kind of coverage. Like I said, I don't say that we're going to Maui to brag. I say it because it's not possible if you guys didn't subscribe and you guys didn't support the sponsors, so they want to pay for it. So it's a big time deal for the basketball tournament, and I felt it was worth the expense for Bronco Nation News to make the travel and to be there. And we appreciate all of you that support us and help make that coverage possible. So if you want to continue to get live pre and post game shows from courtside at the road basketball games, the home basketball games, continue to support our sponsors, like I said, and make all of this possible, because we couldn't do it without them. So appreciate you guys. Go read Mike Prater's column, Nathan Carroll's game preview, all of our recruiting coverage, a big recruiting weekend for the Broncos coming up. Chris Van Sickle's all over that. So tons of coverage online, bronconationnews.com. Tons of videos, all of the press conferences from yesterday. Those are all up on our YouTube channel. Make sure you click like and subscribe to our YouTube channel on the way out the door here. We appreciate you for that. And we'll see you in the message boards. We'll be chatting over there today. I'll talk to you guys at 4:15 with Prater and Johnny. And then we'll see you at 2 o'clock for the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show, getting you set for Senior Day against Colorado State. I expect Boise State to blow out Colorado State. I could be wrong. That could be foolish. I know it's hard to say that after what we've seen with the offense the last 2 weeks, but I expect them to take more shots down the field. I expect them to be more aggressive, and I think Colorado State is just awful. So I don't think Colorado State scores much tomorrow, and I think Boise State has a chance to get after them a little bit, even with Max Cudforth at quarterback. So I'm excited to see what he can do. I think they are going to give him a chance to throw the ball more. And Senior Day, sellout crowd. I just believe that Boise State's going to win this game rather easily, and we'll see. The spread, Vegas usually knows what they're talking about with the spread, and when they've got Boise State favored by 15, I think they're going to get after him a little bit tomorrow, but we'll see. So appreciate you guys. Go check out the website, BroncoNationNews.com. Subscribe, like, share this video and all that good stuff. And we will see you guys tomorrow, 2 o'clock, the James Kitchen and Bar for the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. Have a great rest of your Friday. Appreciate you guys. Bronco Nation News online, the all-new part of the 24/7 Sports Network, BroncoNationNews.com.